Hello there. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey beneath the waves. This journey was inspired by Tester's interest in shipwrecks around the world. He wants to know about some of the famous vessels that have met ill fates. We're going to travel back in time, exploring the fascinating stories of some of the world's most famous shipwrecks. These underwater time capsules offer us a glimpse into the past, revealing tales of adventure, tragedy, and remarkable engineering. So get ready to submerge yourselves in history as we uncover the secrets hidden beneath the ocean's surface. Our first stop takes us to the North Atlantic, to the wreck of the RMS Titanic. This magnificent vessel, launched in 1912, was the largest ship of its time, a symbol of luxury and technological achievement. Imagine grand staircases, shimmering chandeliers, and first-class dining rooms fit for royalty. The Titanic had it all. It was a floating palace, carrying over 2,200 passengers and crew on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York. Tragically, the Titanic's journey was cut short on a cold April night. The supposedly unsinkable ship struck an iceberg, tearing a massive hole in its side. Despite the crew's best efforts, the Titanic sank beneath the waves, taking with it over 1,500 souls. The Titanic had 20 lifeboats that could accommodate around 1,178 people, while the ship had a capacity of 3,320 people. The crew was not well trained in how to load and lower the lifeboats. The nominal capacity of 65 of the lifeboats was based on ideal conditions, such as smooth water. In reality, the proper capacity was closer to 40 people per the White Star Line did not anticipate that the entire crew and passengers would need to be evacuated at one time. After all, the ship was unsinkable. Passengers were very reluctant to board the lifeboats because of the pitch-black conditions and the 90-foot drop into the freezing Atlantic Ocean. The Titanic did comply with international maritime regulations for the time, as the Merchant Shipping Act of 1894 required ships over 10,000 tons to carry at least 16 lifeboats. However, the Titanic's lifeboats were still not enough to save most of the passengers and crew. The wreck lay undiscovered for over 70 years, a haunting reminder of the perils of the sea, the fragility of life, and to not believe all advertisements. It was a well-built ship for its time, but as history proved, it was indeed sinkable. Now, we journey to the Great Lakes of North America, a region known for its unpredictable weather and treacherous waters. Here, we encounter the wreck of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, a mighty freighter that sailed these waters for 17 years. This workhorse of the Great Lakes transported thousands of tons of iron ore, a vital resource for the American steel industry. The Fitzgerald was a familiar sight on the lakes, known for its resilience and the dedication of its crew. In November 1975, the Fitzgerald set sail on what would be its final voyage. On her final voyage, Edmund Fitzgerald's crew of 29 consisted of the captain, the first, second, and third mates, 5 engineers, 3 oilers, a cook, a wiper, 2 maintenance men, 3 watchmen, 3 deckhands, 3 wheelsmen, 2 porters, a cadet, and a steward, all lost to Lake Superior's icy waters. A fierce storm battered the Great Lakes, whipping up monstrous waves and howling winds. The Fitzgerald, caught in the storm's fury, vanished below the icy waves. Edmund Fitzgerald sank at the eastern edge of the area of high wind where the long fetch, or distance that wind blows over water, produced significant waves averaging over 23 feet, 7.0 meters, by 7 p.m. and over 25 feet, 7.6 meters, at 8 p.m. The entire crew of 29 people died when the vessel sank. No bodies were ever recovered from the wreckage. Years later, when the wreck was found, it was discovered that the ship had broken in two. It still sits on the bottom of Lake Superior at 530 feet deep. The RMS Lusitania, a name synonymous with both grandeur and tragedy. Launched in 1906, this magnificent vessel was a testament to the golden age of ocean liners. She was a floating palace, carrying passengers across the vast Atlantic in unparalleled comfort and luxury. Her interiors were adorned with fine woods, plush carpets, and sparkling chandeliers, a far cry from the cramped quarters of many ships of the time. On May 7, 1915, tragedy struck. As the Lusitania sailed off the coast of Ireland, she encountered a danger lurking beneath the waves: a German U-boat. The U-boat, under the command of Kapitänleutnant Walter Schwieger, fired a single torpedo, tearing a gaping hole in the Lusitania's starboard side. The once majestic liner began to sink rapidly, throwing her passengers and crew into a desperate fight for survival. The Lusitania sank in just 18 minutes, taking with her nearly 1,200 souls, including over 100 American citizens. The sinking sent shockwaves across the globe, turning public opinion firmly against Germany. The Lusitania's sinking became a rallying cry for the Allies, a symbol of the human cost of unrestricted submarine warfare. It was a tragedy that would echo through history, forever changing the course of the First World War. Now for a shout-out to some of our online friends. Hi from Grand Pop, tester and evaluator to Jacob, James, Nathaniel, Alan, Althea, Christian, Christina, Dallasay, and of course our friend Dewata. In the heart of the Philippines, a nation of islands and archipelagos, ferries are more than just vessels. They are lifelines, connecting communities separated by vast stretches of water. The MV Dona Paz was one such ferry, plying a regular route through the busy waters of the Tabata Strait. Built in Japan in 1963, the Dona Paz was a familiar sight to those who lived and worked among the islands. She was a sturdy vessel, designed to carry hundreds of passengers and cargo on her journeys through the Philippine archipelago. MT Vector was a Philippine oil tanker that collided with the passenger ferry Dona Paz on December 20, 1987, in the Tablas Strait, Philippines. As the two vessels collided, Vector's cargo ignited and caused a fire that spilled into the water and rapidly spread to Dona Paz, which sank within hours. Vector also sank shortly afterwards. 2 of the 13 crew members aboard Vector, Franklin Bornilio and Ronaldo Taripe, survived, but all 58 crew of Dona Paz died. The inferno raged across the surface of the water, fueled by the thousands of barrels of gasoline and crude oil being transported by the Vector. Passengers and crew alike were thrown into a desperate struggle for survival, leaping into the burning sea to escape the flames. The waters of the Tabata Strait became a scene of unimaginable horror, filled with the cries of those struggling to stay afloat amidst the burning wreckage and spilled oil. The Dona Paz sank within hours, taking with her an estimated 4,386 passengers and crew. The scale of the disaster shocked the world, highlighting the importance of maritime safety regulations and the often overlooked dangers faced by those who travel and work at sea. The Dona Paz remains a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of human error. Though the wreckage of the Dona Paz rests on the seabed, her story serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, responsibility, and the enduring human spirit in the face of tragedy. The year is 1545, and the waters of the Solent, off the coast of England, are alive with the might of the Tudor Navy. Amongst the warships, one stands out, the Mary Rose, a powerful carrack and a symbol of King Henry VIII's ambition. Built in Portsmouth and launched in 1510, the Mary Rose was a formidable vessel for her time, armed with heavy guns and manned by a crew of skilled sailors and soldiers. She was a key component of Henry VIII's naval forces, instrumental in securing England's dominance at sea. As the Mary Rose sailed into action against a French invasion fleet, disaster struck. The exact cause of her sinking remains a mystery, debated by historians to this day. Some believe a sudden gust of wind caught her sails, causing her to capsize. Others speculate that a miscalculation during a turn left her vulnerable, allowing water to rush in through her open gun ports. Whatever the reason, the Mary Rose sank rapidly, taking with her over 400 men, many of whom were trapped below decks. The loss of the Mary Rose was a significant blow to Henry VIII's navy, and sent shockwaves through English society. She was a symbol of national pride, and her sinking served as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of the sea. But the Mary Rose's story did not end on the seabed. In 1982, after more than 4 centuries beneath the waves, she was salvaged in a remarkable feat of maritime archaeology. Her well-preserved remains in the Mary Rose Museum offers a unique glimpse into Tudor life and naval warfare. The USS Arizona, a mighty Pennsylvania-class battleship, once stood as a symbol of American naval power. Commissioned in 1916, she was a formidable vessel, equipped with the latest technology of the time. Her story, however, takes a tragic turn on the fateful morning of December 7, 1941. On that day, Japanese forces launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, plunging the United States into the Second World War. The Arizona, moored along Battleship Row, became a primary target. Struck by multiple armor-piercing bombs, a catastrophic explosion ripped through her forward magazine. The resulting inferno engulfed the ship, sending a plume of smoke and debris high into the air. The attack on the Arizona was swift and brutal, claiming the lives of 1,177 officers and crewmen. Today, the wreckage of the Arizona rests on the seabed, a poignant reminder of the human cost of conflict and a symbol of American resilience. Following the attack, the USS Arizona was deemed too heavily damaged to be salvaged. Her sunken hull, still containing the remains of many of her crew, became a tomb for those lost that day. In 1962, the USS Arizona Memorial was dedicated, a solemn structure straddling the sunken battleship's hull. Visitors from around the world come to pay their respects, reflecting on the sacrifices made and the lessons learned. The Arizona's legacy extends beyond her tragic end. She serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and preparedness, as well as the devastating consequences of war. Her story, passed down through generations, continues to inspire reflection and remembrance, ensuring that the sacrifices of those who perished aboard the USS Arizona will never be forgotten. The high seas, for centuries, were a haven for those who lived outside the law. Amongst the most notorious figures of this era was the fearsome pirate Blackbeard, captain of the Queen Anne's Revenge. Originally a French slave ship known as Le Concorde, she was captured by Blackbeard in 1717. Rechristened Queen Anne's Revenge, she became Blackbeard's flagship, striking terror into the hearts of merchant ships across the Caribbean. Despite his fearsome reputation, Blackbeard's reign of terror would not last forever. In 1718, Lieutenant Robert Maynard, a young officer in the Royal Navy, was tasked with hunting down the notorious pirate. Maynard, in a daring engagement off the coast of North Carolina, finally confronted Blackbeard and the Queen Anne's Revenge. The ensuing battle was fierce, with both sides exchanging cannon fire and engaging in hand-to-hand combat. During the melee, the Queen Anne's Revenge ran aground on a sandbar, giving Maynard's forces the upper hand. Blackbeard, fighting with his characteristic ferocity, was eventually killed, his reign of terror brought to an end. The wreck of the Queen Anne's Revenge lay undiscovered for centuries, a silent testament to the golden age of piracy. In 1996, marine archaeologists finally located the sunken ship, offering a fascinating glimpse into Blackbeard's world. The icy plains of Antarctica, a vast and unforgiving wilderness, have long held an allure for explorers. In 1914, Sir Ernest Shackleton and his crew embarked on an ambitious expedition aboard the Endurance, aiming to make the first land crossing of the continent. The Endurance, a sturdy polar exploration ship, was specifically designed to withstand the harsh conditions of the Antarctic. However, the unforgiving power of nature would soon test the ship and her crew to their limits. As the Endurance slowly succumbed to the pressure of the ice, Shackleton and his men were forced to abandon ship and set up camp on the ice floe. Their situation was dire. stranded on a drifting platform of ice in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. With dwindling supplies and the constant threat of the ice breaking apart, Shackleton displayed remarkable leadership and determination. He rallied his crew, maintaining morale and formulating a daring plan for escape. After months of drifting on the ice floe, the crew took to their lifeboats, navigating treacherous seas to reach the inhospitable Elephant Island. From there, Shackleton and a small party set sail in a lifeboat on a desperate 800-mile journey to South Georgia Island to seek rescue. Against all odds, Shackleton and his men returned to Elephant Island and rescued the remaining crew. The Endurance expedition, though failing to achieve its original goal, became a testament to human resilience and the indomitable spirit of exploration. The mighty Mississippi River, a vital artery coursing through the heart of America. In the 19th century, it was a bustling waterway, teeming with steamboats transporting goods and passengers. Among them was the SS Sultana, a wooden-hulled sidewheel steamboat. The Sultana was a common sight, her steamy breath and churning paddles a familiar rhythm on the river. She was no luxury liner, but a workhorse, ferrying people and cargo between bustling ports and sleepy river towns. As the Sultana churned upriver, packed beyond capacity with hopeful souls, danger lurked within her boilers. Years of wartime service had taken their toll, leaving the steamboat vulnerable. On the night of April 27, 1865, just north of Memphis, the overstrained boilers could take no more. With a deafening roar that split the night, the Sultana exploded, tearing the ship apart and hurling passengers into the icy waters. The explosion was only the beginning of the horror. Many perished in the initial blast and the collapsing decks. Others were thrown into the frigid river, struggling to stay afloat amidst the debris and flames. The Sultana disaster claimed the lives of over 1,800 people, making it the deadliest maritime disaster in United States history. The river, once a symbol of hope and connection, now flowed with the memory of a terrible tragedy. The Wilhelm Gustloff, once a proud symbol of Nazi Germany's leisure program, met a tragic end in the icy depths of the Baltic Sea. Originally designed for luxurious cruises, the Gustloff was repurposed during the war, becoming a vessel of hope for thousands fleeing the advancing Soviet army. Families, soldiers, and civilians alike crammed aboard, seeking safety and escape from the encroaching conflict. The sheer number of souls on board, far exceeding its intended capacity, painted a picture of desperation as the remnants of a crumbling regime sought refuge. The Baltic Sea in winter is a harsh and unforgiving mistress. The icy waters, whipped by biting winds, offered little comfort to the overcrowded vessel. As the Gustloff made its way westward, the frigid air seemed to carry a premonition of the tragedy that was to come. On the evening of January 30th, 1945, the Wilhelm Gustloff encountered its fate in the form of a Soviet submarine, the S-13. The submarine, under the command of Alexander Marinesko, stalked the Gustloff through the darkness, its presence undetected by those aboard the ill-fated liner. 3 torpedoes ripped into the side of the Gustloff, sending shockwaves through the ship and plunging its human cargo into chaos and terror. The frigid waters of the Baltic rushed in, claiming the lives of those trapped below deck. The scene that unfolded was one of unimaginable horror. The cries of the desperate, the biting cold, and the relentless sea conspired to create a nightmare for those aboard the sinking vessel. Despite the valiant efforts of some crew members to organize an evacuation, the sheer number of people on board made escape nearly impossible for many. The Wilhelm Gustloff sank beneath the waves, taking with it an estimated 9,400 souls, making it one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. The tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of war, even in its waning days. For more information, visit the online Wilhelm Gustloff Museum. The Bismarck, a fearsome predator of the deep, represented the pinnacle of German naval engineering. This mighty battleship, named after the Iron Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, was a force to be reckoned with, its very name striking fear into the hearts of Allied sailors. Launched in 1940, the Bismarck embodied the might of the German Kriegsmarine. Its massive guns, capable of hurling devastating salvos over vast distances, made it a formidable opponent in the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. The Bismarck's mission was to disrupt the vital supply lines between North America and Britain, strangling the British war effort. Its presence alone threatened to tip the balance of power in the Battle of the Atlantic. The Bismarck's maiden voyage, codenamed Operation Rheinübung, would also be its last. Tasked with intercepting Allied convoys, the Bismarck's journey was short-lived, but marked by both triumph and disaster. In a fierce engagement, the Bismarck unleashed its devastating firepower, sinking the British battlecruiser HMS Hood. The loss of the Hood, once the pride of the Royal Navy, sent shockwaves through Britain, galvanizing the nation's resolve to hunt down the Bismarck. The Royal Navy responded with a vengeance, dispatching a vast armada to intercept the German behemoth. Crippled by a lucky torpedo strike to its rudder, the Bismarck was surrounded and subjected to a relentless aerial and naval bombardment. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Bismarck fought back with the ferocity of a cornered animal, but its fate was sealed. On the morning of May 27, 1941, the Bismarck, its guns silenced and its hull riddled with holes, slipped beneath the waves, taking with it over 2,000 German sailors. And so we surface from the depths of history, our journey through the wreckage of these once majestic vessels complete. Each ship, in its own way, tells a story of human endeavor, of triumph and tragedy, of innovation and loss. Though they now rest on the ocean floor, their stories continue to resonate with us, reminding us of the power of the sea, the fragility of life, and the enduring spirit of humanity. Thanks for joining Grandpop, Tester, and Evaluator at WiseHooterLearning on this underwater adventure. I hope this video answered some questions for Tester and for you at home. Remember, history is full of amazing stories waiting to be discovered. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's free and will help us to create more learning videos for you to enjoy. See you next time.